morning, it's me again. Hello. It's the middle of October and it's beginning to get a bit chilly, and it seems like an age since I've done this. Anyway, what I'd like to tell you about today is the perils of a playlist. Oh, I haven't really listened to much music since Michael died. It was a constant in our lives, and it's time I got back to listening to music. So a lovely granddaughter Jessica put a playlist together for me. You know, Carly Simon, Aretha Franklin, Sting, Phil Collins, all that sort of my era type thing, as well as Bach and a bit of Chopin, a bit of Beethoven. So she did all this on my phone. It's great. Country Road, all of that sort of stuff. And last month I had to go and pick up my friend Trish, who came for a holiday. And the normal thing is they get the flight to Limoges, and it's a sort of 3-hour trip. 3-hour round trip to Limoges and back. Well, if I tell you that I set off at 11 o'clock in the morning and I finally brought Trish back to this house at 15 minutes past midnight, you can see it was a bit of a day. So the playlist. I drove to Limoges, and instead of going into the car park, I decided I would park along the road the way a lot of folk do. So I pulled in and I thought, right, I've got an hour before the plane lands. So I'll just listen to my playlist. So there I was listening to the playlist, blah, 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 blah. And it starts to rain. Now I knew it was going to rain because it said it on my phone. So I took this little raincoat with me, navy and white spots, lovely. Just fine for a drop of French rain. But the rain came stotting down. It was really, really heavy. So I decided I would go into the airport and have a coffee. So I switched on the engine and nothing happened. My battery was flat. So I thought, right, what am I going to do? And the first stupid thing I did was phone my neighbours. Now, they're an hour away. Neither of them responded. So I thought, oh gosh, this is an opportunity for me to do something for myself. So I thought, right, I'm going to have to walk into the airport. 5, 6, 7-minute walk, tiny airport. And I'm parked just off the road at the roundabout. So I get out my little blue and white spotty raincoat. Now I couldn't zip it up because the mice had eaten the zip. I never expected to be able to use it. So I put it on, put the hood up, lock up the car. Well, I hadn't crossed the roundabout before I was soaked. Absolutely, the rain was stotting off the ground. Now, to give you an idea, I'll just jump to the middle or the end of the story. The rain was sufficient to stop the plane landing, and the plane was diverted to Toulouse. So anyway, wet to the skin. I mean, my coat could have been, if it had been made out of kitchen towel, it couldn't have been more absorbent. So I was soaked to the skin. So I walk over the roundabout, I walk down places where there's no path or anything because everybody drives. And I noticed that there's the car hire place. So there was a woman cleaning a car, or doing something, running inside. And I asked her if she had any jump leads, and she said, come in. So I went into the shop and they gave me a pair of jump leads. And the woman behind the counter said, flag down a really big diesel car. How do I know what a diesel car is? Anyway, she said, flag down a really big car and get them to jumpstart your car. So back I went, still sopping wet, feet squelching by this time. And I get back to the car just as a great big VW, great big white VW pulled in, not beside me because there was a car behind me. So I walked up to the window, and it was a man with a beret on, and he wound his window down, and I said, "Do you speak English?" And he said, "No." So I held up the jump leads and sort of waggled them. And then he said, "Is there enough space in front of your car for me to park?" Well, I thought to myself, if I could not speak French the way you cannot speak English, I would be cock-a-hoop. Anyway, I told him there was space. Anyway, he had to drive around the roundabout so that our two front bits were together. So he pulls the wee knob inside the car, and then he comes out. He's got a big coat on. I've got this wet cloth hanging round me. And he couldn't open his bonnet. He had his fingers underneath, fiddling about. And he said, "Oh, this is a new car. I've never opened the bonnet before." So I said, "Right, I can do it." So I fiddled about hoping I could, and I found the thing. I thought, well, here's an angel. Here's an angel helping me, and even an angel needs a hand. So I got the bonnet open and secured it with a thing. And he pulls this knob and it comes away in his hand. "Oh, I've broken it." And I said, "No, give it to me." And it was just a clip-on thing. So I clipped that back on. And after a lot of fumbling and fannying on, he managed to get him and I connected. And the car started first time. And he said, "Are you going to the airport?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, if you need me again, I'll be in the cafe." Right, so what did I do? Right, so he drove away, and I shut the bonnet and did whatever I did, and I drove into the airport and parked right beside him, and he was still sitting in his car. So he waved and I waved, and I thought, well, I think I'll better leave the engine running for just a little while, just in case it doesn't start again. But at this point, I have to tell you that this has happened before. It happened when I was on the ferry, and in an automatic car, you can't get a push start. So I held up the ferry departure, or whatever. It wasn't the ferry, it was the tunnel. And what happened there was a wee sign that came up and said, "Warning, battery leak." Well, once the car was started, I never even gave that a thought. I never gave it a thought until I realised I've got a battery leak. And I thought that when I was going on the tunnel, I was listening to my phone as well. So I thought this battery leak is something to do with my phone. So what happened next? Then I had to take the jumpers back, took the jump starters back, and then I went into the airport and discovered that the plane had been diverted to Toulouse. So I was chatting to a woman and just chatting away, and all got together, and there was no announcements. And then a man with a phone tracked the plane, so we knew before we got any announcements that the plane had been diverted to Toulouse. Now, I was not going to go to Toulouse to pick Trish up, which she thought I was. That's when we chatted it in the car the way back. So, to cut a long story short, I've got a battery leak. So I don't listen to my phone in the car unless the engine is running. And the man at the garage says, well, there's nothing wrong with your battery, and it's a big job to find out where the battery leak is. So don't leave your key in the car, don't leave your lights on automatic switch off, and don't listen to your phone if you're not driving. So that's me today, and it's fine. Car starts every time because I'm taking precautions. So those are the perils of a playlist. So have a lovely day. I'm going to have a lovely day. I'm going to measure up my garden for pathways. I'm going to put planks round my borders, and I'm going to take rubbish to the tip, and I'm going, oh, and that's another thing. We've now got a new rubbish system. We don't get rubbish collected. We have to take our bags of rubbish to a special bin that only opens if you've got a card. And I'm allowed 17 bags of rubbish, 30-litre bags of rubbish, 17 times a year. So we'll see how that goes and see if fly tipping creeps up. But anyway, apart from that, have a lovely day, smile to the people you meet, and remember to look in the mirror and tell yourself what a lovely person you are. And that should keep you going for another week or two. See you. Bye.